Luna gripped the golden feather tight. It hummed against her palm, vibrating with a light that seemed to cut through the heavy, humid air. Above her, the wind whipped and howled, pulling at her ears, but she did not look back. Pip the bluebird darted through a gap in the canopy, his wings flashing in a blur of motion. He stopped in mid-air, a sharp, piercing chirp signaling the direction. He pointed his beak toward a faint, rhythmic shimmer pulsing deep within the clouds. Luna did not waste a second. She took a breath, felt the pulse of the feather once more, and pushed off. Her paws thumped against the damp, mossy ground, sending mud spraying into the ferns. She sprinted, muscles coiling and releasing with every stride, driving deeper into the dense undergrowth. The forest floor was a maze of roots and shadows, but she kept her eyes locked on the bluebird flickering ahead. Every movement was precise. Every leap cleared the tangled vines. The quest had begun, and the silence of the woods had been replaced by the rhythm of her own frantic, purposeful run toward the sky. The roar of water grew louder, drowning out the forest birds. Luna broke through the tree line and skidded to a halt at the edge of the Whispering Falls. The water cascaded down in a white blur, spraying mist that coated everything in slick, cold moisture. Pip circled the spray, his chirps sharp and urgent. He darted toward a hollow log wedged precariously between two jagged rocks. Luna saw it, the faint golden glow bleeding through a knot in the wood. She surged forward, paws sliding on the wet stone, and dove into the log's narrow opening. The space inside was tight, smelling of rot and damp earth. Her claws scraped against the rough interior as she lunged for the light. She grabbed the second feather, but the log groaned. The ground beneath them shifted. The entire structure tilted violently, sliding toward the abyss. Luna felt the world drop away beneath her feet. She scrambled, her muscles bunching, and launched herself outward just as the log tipped over the ledge. She slammed into the mud on the bank, the feather clutched against her chest, listening as the wood vanished into the mist below. Pip did not pause, climbing higher into the jagged teeth of the crag of echoes. Luna followed, her lungs burning as she faced the vertical wall of slick, dark stone. She reached for a handhold, but the rock crumbled under her weight. She slid backward, nails screeching against the granite, and tumbled 3 feet down before stopping herself with a desperate lunge. She tried again, finding a sliver of stone, but her hind paw slipped on a patch of wet lichen. She dropped again, the impact jarring her joints and knocking the wind from her chest. Her heart hammered against her ribs, a frantic rhythm against the silence of the high altitude. The quest was no longer just about speed, it was about pure, grinding endurance. She pressed her forehead against the cold stone, took a slow, jagged breath, and forced her focus to sharpen. She ignored the ache in her legs. She dug her claws deep into a narrow, hidden crevice, feeling the stone bite into her skin. With a grunt of effort, she hauled her weight upward, inch by agonizing inch, pulling herself toward the jagged peak where the third feather waited in the shadows. The peak was a jagged tooth of rock, wind-whipped and desolate. Luna ignored the biting cold and focused on the center, where a slab of granite pulsed with an unnatural, rhythmic light. She shoved the heavy stone aside, her claws sparking against the rock face. There it was. She reached in and snatched the third feather. The moment her paw closed around the glowing stem, the mountain groaned. A deep, subterranean rumble vibrated through her pads, traveling up her limbs until her very teeth rattled. The ground beneath her didn't just vibrate, it heaved. A hairline fracture spider-webbed across the plateau, widening with a sharp, cracking sound that echoed against the cliffs. Luna dropped to her belly, claws splayed wide to anchor herself to the shifting surface. Pebbles danced and skipped toward the precipice. Pip shrieked, struggling to stay airborne in the turbulent, swirling updrafts. The entire crag of echoes felt like it was coming undone, the stone beneath her grinding against itself, as if the earth were trying to eject her. She pinned her ears back, muscles coiled, waiting for the rock to settle, but the shaking only intensified, turning the summit into a bucking, unstable trap. The ground beneath her feet finally stilled, leaving behind only the ringing of her own pulse. Luna did not wait for the dust to settle. She sprinted away from the crumbling crag, her paws striking the forest floor in a rhythmic, desperate blur. Pip flew low, his wings brushing the canopy as he guided her toward the dark, tangled perimeter of the Shadow Grove. They stopped at the edge of a wall of thorns, dense and jagged as a row of rusted blades. High above the center of the brush, the fourth feather hung suspended on a delicate, shimmering spiderweb. It swayed in the light breeze, mocking her reach. Luna paced the perimeter, eyes locked on the prize. There was no clear path around, no way to climb. She backed away, muscles bunching in her shoulders. She needed momentum. She accelerated, her claws digging deep into the mossy earth as she launched herself into the air. Time seemed to snap into focus as she cleared the first tier of the brush. She plunged into the thicket, the thorns biting into her legs, but she did not flinch. She reached out, swiped the feather from the silk threads midair, and landed hard on the other side, the glow of the trophy pulsing against her chest. The forest floor transformed as the light bled from the sky. What had been a vibrant green canopy only moments ago now deepened into bruised purples and burnt oranges. Luna paused, her flanks heaving, the 4 feathers tucked safely against her side. She looked up. The shadows were lengthening, stretching like fingers across the mossy ground. Time was no longer a luxury, it was a dwindling resource. Pip did not circle, as he had before. He landed briefly on a low branch, let out a sharp, insistent chirp, and took flight toward the center of the woods. Luna followed the flash of blue wings, her paws hitting the earth with a steady, tiring thud. They broke through a wall of dense ferns to find the great oak standing as a titan against the horizon. It loomed above every other tree, its trunk thick and gnarled. Pip spiraled toward the very top, his small form a speck against the darkening sky. Luna slowed to a walk, tilting her head back to track his path. There, caught in the highest, thinnest branches where the last rays of sunlight caught the dew, the final feather shimmered. It was a beacon of light against the encroaching dusk, waiting for her reach. Luna did not hesitate at the base of the great oak. She dug her claws into the rough, furrowed bark and pulled. The trunk was massive, a solid wall of wood that seemed to vibrate with the coming night. Her first few steps were steady, but the higher she climbed, the more the bark betrayed her. Evening dew had settled into the deep crevices, turning the mossy patches into slick, treacherous traps. Her paw slipped, sending a shower of wood chips spiraling into the dark below. She scrambled, her muscles burning as she braced her weight against a protruding knot. Breath came in sharp, ragged gasps that echoed against the trunk. She looked up. The sky was turning a deeper shade of violet, and the final feather seemed to retreat further into the shadows with every passing second. Her heart hammered against her ribs, a frantic rhythm matching her climbing pace. She found a new grip, her claws tearing into the damp fibers, and hauled herself upward again. Every limb was heavy, vibrating with the exhaustion of the day, yet she pushed through the fatigue. The gap between her and the canopy was closing, but the light was dying faster. She reached for the next branch, her vision blurring at the edges, and refused to stop. The final branch groaned under her weight. Luna crawled onto the narrow timber, her eyes locked on the faint, rhythmic pulse of the fifth feather. It hung from a spindly twig that swayed dangerously in the rising night air. She shifted her center of gravity, claws digging deep into the wood to anchor herself. A sudden, sharp gust whipped through the canopy, tossing the branches violently and forcing her to flatten her body against the bark. She waited, eyes darting, until the movement stilled. Slowly, she extended her right paw. The gap narrowed. Her muscles coiled, every fiber focused on that single, shimmering point. The horizon was a thin, bleeding line of crimson now, the last sliver of the sun clinging to the edge of the world. She stretched further, heart hammering against her chest like a trapped bird. Her pads brushed the soft surface of the feather. She hooked her claws, pulled, and felt the resistance give way. In that exact heartbeat, the light touched the horizon and vanished. Silence fell over the forest. She held the prize against her chest, her breath finally slowing as she looked down at the dark, sprawling expanse below. She had done it. All 5 were hers. The air around the great oak suddenly grew heavy and charged with static. Luna felt the fur on her back stand on end as the 5 feathers in her grip began to hum. They pulsed with a rhythmic, golden light that bled into the darkening sky. The horizon, previously swallowed by shadow, erupted in a blinding, molten glow. Above the canopy, the clouds began to churn and tear apart, revealing a massive, angular silhouette emerging from the ether. A deep, resonant boom vibrated through the trunk of the tree, shaking the branches beneath Luna's feet. Stone pillars and jagged spires shivered into existence, coalescing into a sprawling fortress that hung suspended in the atmosphere. The structure groaned as it adjusted, its weight pressing down on the clouds until they hardened like marble. Massive chains of light lashed out from the base of the castle, hooking into the firmament to secure its position. The sky roared as the fortress finished its descent, locking into place with a sound like grinding mountain ranges. The world stopped shaking, the golden light settled, bathing the entire forest in a calm, steady radiance. Where there had been only empty air, a stone kingdom now stood, anchored and immovable against the stars. The great oak stood silent, its leaves no longer shivering under the weight of the celestial event. Luna looked up one last time at the shimmering stone silhouette now fixed firmly within the clouds. The golden aura faded into a soft, steady glow that bathed the forest in a gentle amber light. She began her descent, paws finding purchase on the familiar, rough bark of the tree. Each movement was slow, deliberate, and free of the frantic energy that had fueled her climb. She navigated the canopy with ease, slipping past moss-covered branches and thick, sturdy limbs until the forest floor came into view. She leaped the final few feet, landing silently on a bed of damp, springy moss that cushioned her weight. The air was cool and still. Pip descended in a flutter of wings, circling once before landing softly on her shoulder. The frantic thumping of her own heart finally slowed to a steady rhythm. She shifted, settling into the soft earth, her muscles uncoiling in the quiet dark. The woods were peaceful again. She closed her eyes, the weight of the long journey replaced by a deep, quiet satisfaction. The forest was safe, the sky was anchored, and the long day had finally come to rest.